All right, hello everybody. My name is Emily, and I'm a dietetic intern here at UCA. And this is Hannah. I'll let her introduce herself.
My name's Hannah, and I'm a dietetic intern here at UCA as well.
We are here to show you how to make not spinach, sorry, kale, mushroom, bacon, egg pie. So we thought that this would be a really great recipe for you all because it's hard to eat a balanced breakfast as college students, whether that's due to time, resources, or a lack of ability to get these nutritional foods. So we thought that this would be a really great recipe for you all, and we're excited to make it for you. So as you can see, we have a couple ingredients already prepped here, but this is just for time's sake, so y'all wouldn't have to watch us dice up onions and crack eggs and mushrooms. But so we've got our baking greens over here, which we will be going into in a little bit. Got some kale, got some diced mushrooms, some eggs, milk, our seasonings, and some bacon. All right. So, are we ready to put the mushrooms right here? Yes. So Hannah is going to put our bacon grease in our pan. If you don't want to use bacon grease, that's totally fine. We, like I said, already prepared our bacon ahead of time just for time's sake. And it's also a good way to not waste food. So we're reusing that bacon grease here to cook our vegetables. Now, if you were making this at home and you have just cooked your bacon, you can obviously go ahead and transfer your vegetables straight into the pan. But since we prepared it ahead of time, we let that grease cool. So, So Hannah's just gonna let that melt for a second while we show you all how to prepare your kale. But we thought that you all might not know how to use kale because it's not a common ingredient in a lot of recipes. So we bought a bag of chopped kale just to save us some time, and I highly recommend you all doing that as well. But depending on how you like your kale, you might want to make it even thinner. So this is really easy. You can just take your fingers, break the kale up into whatever size pieces that you want. That looks about right, but we like our kale. We like the taste of kale, so we're just going to leave it the same size that we bought it in. And make sure that you wash this after you buy it. There can definitely be a chance for bacteria to be on this if you buy it from the grocery store, so make sure that you wash it, but we already did at the time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add these mushrooms to our pan. We preheated our pan as well, so hopefully it'll cook a little bit faster for you all. So Hannah's gonna give that a good stir. And if you all can see it, I don't know if you can, but the mushrooms might start out a little big, but over time they will shrink up. So they're going to be in small, tiny little pieces so that you can add them to your egg whites. And we can turn that up. So while that is beginning to cook, I just wanted to give you all a little bit of information on mushrooms. So if you noticed in Zach's video when they talked about making the ramen, mushroom actually has a great flavor that adds to dishes without needing to add extra sodium. So sodium can cause a whole lot of problems, especially if you eat it in excess. It can cause heart disease, hypertension, things like that. So we want to keep our bodies healthy. And adding mushrooms to dishes is a great way to not add a ton of mushrooms. Or not add a ton of salt. So that might need just a little bit of time. And while it's cooking, we might just break up a little bit more of this kale. So kale is also a great ingredient for you to add to your dishes. A lot of people don't like kale because it's unusual. It's not in plenty of dishes, but it's great to add. And it actually has a lot of calcium in it. So when we don't need a lot of calcium, whether we have a dietary preference like we are vegan or we just prefer not to consume dairy, sometimes we can be deficient in calcium. Or if we have an allergy or we're lactose intolerant, adding kale to your diet is a great way to combat that and add that calcium back to it. That's also very high in antioxidants. So mushrooms and kale are both going to be great at fighting cancer within your body and preventing those chronic diseases because of the cells that we have that have free radicals. So we are just going to go ahead and add our kale to our pan as well. So kale also, if you notice, it's pretty decent sized chunks. Kale also wilts down while you cook it. So even though it looks a little intimidating, you might think that you don't want a huge chunk of kale in your food. Don't worry, it's going to wilt down over time. Right. It's just gonna give that a good start. And since it might need a little bit more time cooking than we had originally anticipated, we can go ahead and show you all how to prepare your bites. So we cracked our eggs. We're using 4 for this recipe, but we're only making 6 egg bites. If you were to make 12, you can double everything that we're doing. Emmy is pouring the egg bites into the blender. We're going to blend our eggs with our spices and our milk. Any kind of milk will work. The reason why we're adding this is just to give them a little bit of fluff. Of course, all of the ingredients that we're using is from the UCA food pantry, but if you wanted to add anything else, you could add maybe cottage cheese instead if you want to. You'll see her adding her spices. We're adding onion powder, salt, and ground pepper. We're kind of doing this by eye or to taste, and that's one of the beauties of cooking. Just know what you like and what else is in what you're cooking, and you can use that to determine how much you're adding. And we can see what I look if you want black pepper and onion powder, a little bit less salt because we're using that fat in a lot of the lines and salamis and the cook our vegetables in, and that's got a lot of saturated fat or sodium. So if you'll notice, I just put like a little thing of salt in my hand, and I'm just gonna take a little pinch and add it to it. I'm not someone personally who likes a ton of salt in my food. I like to taste the other flavors, but you can add more if you prefer that salty taste. Just know that whenever you cook something in bacon grease and we add the bacon, it's already going to have quite a bit of salt. So what we're going to do is we're going to blend this for 30 to 60 seconds. It's going to get a little bit loud, so bear with us. If you don't have a blender at home, then you can just use a whisk and a bowl because we are not including our chunky ingredients into this just yet. We'll have this after it blends. Okay, so now that we have our ingredients blended, as you can see, it blended it pretty well, but a blender is definitely not necessary here. You can just get a whisk, a bowl, or even a fork. I know I grew up whisking my eggs with a fork, so if you just want to mix it all together in a bowl with a fork, that is absolutely fine as well. And also, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to line our cups. Sorry to put down now. Yes, right in there. So if you noticed, we already had our grease in a little container, and we pre-greased our rubber tins. We got that because we cooked the bacon ahead of time. We went ahead and we made it on the stove and we saved the grease. So what you can do is you can just put it on a stove top like this in a pan just like this one. Pour some of the excess grease aside to use to line your cupcakes. What you can do is you can dip a paper towel in that and use that to line the liners. Or you can use one of the basters. And then you can leave the rest in here for your vegetables, or you can save it for another dish. And if you're not wanting to add quite as much fat to your dish, or you are a vegetarian and you don't want to use the bacon, you can always just spray it with a shot of cooking oil or any type of oil to grease these as well. And I believe that you all will have access to these little cupcake liners through a QR code. So if you all see that and are able to purchase these or obtain these, then it'll be a great way to utilize this recipe. These things too. So a good thing about us not cooking this at a crazy high heat is that we're not going to have to chill this. If you were to cook it down a lot and the vegetables were to get really hot, then you would want to stick it in a cooler or let it sit on the counter for a couple of minutes so that it wouldn't cook your eggs or curdle your milk before transferring it into cupcake liners. I'm just scooping that mixture that I just took off the stove top into our blended egg and milk and spicy mixture. We're just going up in the bacon as well. And then we'll mix that up a little bit. We're pouring it into our molds. We only used about half of a package of bacon in this recipe. So a great way to cook your bacon evenly, if you're only using half the package, is to just cut the bacon straight in half using a pair of kitchen scissors. As you can see, I'm pouring them about halfway to 3/4. They don't really rise like when you bake, so it's kind of up to you how you want to fill it up to. Fighting a little bit to get all those chunks out, but that's okay, no problem.
We'll go in
Just get them with a
after.
spoon.
Yeah.
Make sure they're all even. So like I said, you can fill them up halfway to 3/4, whatever you want, as long as they're filled evenly so that they cook evenly. So it's the same height across the board. Yeah, so sometimes when you cook them down just a little bit smaller, it'll be easier for them to distribute throughout the liners. But if you don't like a lot of kale and you realize that you put too much, this might be a good way also to control it afterwards. So now that we have everything fully lined, we're just going to transfer it into our preheated oven to 350. We'll let that sit in there for 20 minutes and then it'll be good to go. But luckily for you guys, we already made some ahead of time, and this is what they're gonna look like when they come out. All right, so here is what they look like. As you can see, the bacon grease worked really well with the cupcake liners. But they just make the perfect little egg whites that you can either put in the refrigerator, probably also freeze these if you want to make them in bulk, and then pull them out as you want for a quick and easy breakfast on the go. With that being said, I'm Hannah, I'm a student intern here, and I'm Emily, and we had a great time teaching you all how to make this recipe. Thank you. Thank you.